hundredths of a second, so she's got to squeeze absolutely everything out of it if she's going to contend with Dina.
OK, sit back and enjoy these three semi-finals then. Andrew Cotter and Colin Jackson, take it away.
Well, I've just seen Milana Ternanic in the inside lane from Serbia. That was Magdalena Stefanovic, the youngest in the lineup at 21. Second to Iva Svoboda, the Polish Championships. We'll see her in the third semi-final. I think Zainab Dosso, usually very quick over the first 60 metres. Very impressive indoors, the Italian. Another youngster, 22. And alongside her will be the first of the two Britons in this. The first of three semi-finals. Imani Lansico. And it is, as they were mentioning in the studio, it's going to be tough for Lansico here, in particular with the two athletes alongside her. Getting a fulsome introduction, Imani Lansico. And there is going to be I've been so encouraged by the size of the crowd inside the Olympic Stadium in Munich this evening. Looked to be about 40, 50,000 in here. And Gina Lukenkemper will get a cheer. Silver medal behind Dean Asher-Smith in Berlin 4 years ago at these championships. She has gone below 11 seconds this season. But what of Daryl Nita? She's taken a big step forward this year. Beat Dean Asher-Smith at the UK Championships, bronze at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Really running consistently below 11 seconds now, Daryl Nita. And should be able to find her way to the final here. Geraldine Frey, again, as we had with the men's 100, there were some preliminary races as well. For those who are not quite as highly ranked as the quicker women, Geraldine Frey had to run the prelim around 11:45, as did Lorena Bazzolo on the outside, 39 now. Spent much of her career competing for Congo, actually carried the Congolese flag at London 2012. That has been running for Portugal for the last 5 or 6 years. So again, as it was for Prescott and Hughes and Jeremiah, who no time to ease into the championships for Nita and Lansico, straight into a semi-final, straight in to try and find a place in the final later tonight, but only two going through automatically. And here really Daryl Nita and Gina Lukenkemper should be the athletes to beat. Can Imani Lansico find something? Two non-automatic qualifiers also to go through. Daryl Nita out very well. I was about to say out very, very well, Daryl Nita, but called back. We've had a few false starts this evening. So, I wonder if it might have been in the inside lanes, though. Colin is suggesting with he's got the most magical eye, Colin Jackson. He sees things with his naked eye that we have to wait for computers to help us out. Of course, he might be entirely wrong, Colin.
I may be entirely wrong, but I'm looking at those inside lanes. Look at check lanes 1 and 2. Who's going to react? Carefully. They're going to let it go.
Nobody.
There you go.
Well, there was movement eventually from Ternanic, a Serbian athlete on the inside. We've seen a full selection of green cards as technical infringements, yellow cards for warnings, and then the big bad red cards have come out. So Jack Ali Harvey in the men's 100 semi-finals, he was sent out. So we haven't got the reaction times on this yet. There we are. So it is actually Milana Ternanic with a 0.041. So that technically should be deemed a false start. And there has been some generosity throughout the championships as well to certain athletes. Artur Abela will go in the 1500 meters later in the decathlon. Say no more.
A false start, lane 1.
So false start, so it will be Milana Ternanic. As he came through the prelims, and we have to bow to the eye of Colin Jackson because he did see it, and before it was confirmed by the reaction time, and sadly for Milana Ternanic of Serbia, that is the end of the semi-final. I mean, she was almost certainly not going to go through anyway, but you just want to have your run in this stadium in front of this crowd in a semi-final in the European Championship. So real shame for Ternanic. So we're down to 7 athletes now. Magdalena Stefanovic of Poland, then Zeynep Dosso of Italy, then in your shot, Imani Lancico, Gina Lukenkemper and Daryl Nita. And in lane 7 and 8, Geraldine Frey of Switzerland and Lorraine Bazzolo of Portugal. A reminder, only 2 to go through automatically. This is the first of 3 semi-finals. Final later tonight. Oh, wait, what a start it was by Zeynep Dosso on the inside, and Daryl Nita has to make up a bit of ground here. Lancico trying to give chase as well, but here comes Daryl Nita and Lukenkemper. These two pulling away. Lancico finishing well. Oh, what a run, 10.95 by Daryl Nita. Leaving the rest trailing. Lukenkemper was giving her very best, and she will go through automatically, but even she was some distance behind Daryl Nita. And that was quick, that was impressive. Talked about her consistency in running below 11 seconds now, and she's done it again.
Yeah, she's finding her feet, isn't she? That sub-11 seems like everyday occurrence for Daryl Nita at this moment in time. She's really hitting that lovely purple patch of running, and she's only going to get better and better. Of course, each season, as she prepares, she'll have these kind of performances to draw on and remember every single training session. Didn't get the best of starts, as we can see here, but look, once she gets into that lovely flow of hers, fully focused on the job in hand, no respite, right the way through, gun to tape, and looking very good.
And the start from Lancico as well, left herself so much to do. Came through to take third, so she has a chance still.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that. It's one of the automatic qualifiers with that 11.23, so keep that close call. But wow, oh, wow. Daryl Nita is looking very, very good.
Well, I mean, there are 3 big athletes here. You're talking Daryl Nita and Dean Asher-Smith and Mujinga Kambunji. Those latter 2, they're coming up in the next 2 semi-finals. But Daryl Nita, that's a statement, 10.95 to go through with Gina Lukenkemper. And Imani Lancico, that 11.23, she's in the hot seat for now.
The high jump qualifying happened early in this session, and chance to see the Olympic champion, Gianmarco Tamberi of Italy, 2.21 meters, the second attempt. Not quite looking happy with his work. He has had COVID after the World Championships, where he came 4th in Eugene a couple of weeks ago. But a clearance at 2.21. The auto qualifying 2.28 meters. It was a tall order. He was never going to need all of that. And a good clearance there from Tamberi, but as I say, not looking quite his buoyant and bubbly self. Great Britain's David Smith, same height, 9th in the Commonwealth Games. Smith earlier this summer. But that was a 3rd time clearance at the same height that we just saw the Italian go clear at, and unfortunately that was the end of the line for Smith at these European Championships. 2.21. As I say, way below that auto qualifying line. 24 athletes start, whittled down to 12 for Thursday's final. Smith will not take part. So from one Brit to another, Joel Clark-Kahn, 3rd attempt, same height. At the 3rd time of asking, gave it the slightest of nudges, but Clark-Kahn successful in his clearance. Did have a failure at the previous height, and there was some confusion because he was told that he was in the final, and then it came up that he was 13th and a non-qualifier. But that's all been rectified, and he did come 13th, which ordinarily might mean that he would have gone out. But 2.21. A couple of Italians there, Fascinotti, Chabilco, the reigning champion from 2018 to Germany. Very buoyant crowd. And look forward to that final. Joel Clark-Kahn not included on the list, but we know he's through to the final under that appeal after a clearance of 2.21.
So we move to the second semi-final, and Dina Asher-Smith, the defending champion, and she will look at those around her and know that she really doesn't have too much to fear here at all. It is the semi-final, and she will be nervous, no doubt, even with all of the experience that she has. And the confidence that she should have, as long as her body's okay, and I'm sure it is, otherwise she wouldn't be here. So Dina Asher-Smith, after looking so good at the World Championships, running so quick, equaling her British record, and then having to pull up in the relay. And she came off the top bend, probably round about a few strides from where she is now, about to line up in lane 6. Most of the women actually in this heat, with the exception of Dina Asher-Smith and Perez and Cooney, all had to run in the preliminary round, and none of them ran quicker than 11.4. So that will give you an idea of what Dina's facing. Takash included here, the 20-year-old from Hungary, over on the far side. Van der Weken from Luxembourg did go to the World Championships to represent her country, ran in the heats. New personal best this year of 11.29, wasn't quite as quick as that in qualifying. Then we've got Perez of Spain, another who headed off to the World Championships. Again, didn't make it out of the heats, but 11.07 this year, and that is pretty swift. If she can replicate that here, will give Dina something to think about. Rebecca Haase will get a huge cheer because she's been one of the stalwarts of German sprinting for so long, particularly with their relay team as well, with Lucan Kemper, who we just saw in the first semi-final. A little bit of a changing of guard with his Swiss team. Del Ponte has been not running very well this year at all. Kambunji not running in the 100 meters, so we saw Frey earlier. Cooney, another one of their 4x1 squad. And let's hope it's all smiles for Dina. She looks a little nervous, doesn't she? A little apprehensive. There you go, there's the smile. I know how much this championship means to her. She wants to win this race and the 200 meters as well. Brilliant crowd in tonight, by the way. It's around about 50,000 people, we think, in this evening in the stadium. Mallory Lecomte of France, 21-year-old in lane 7. French champion this year. And Rani Rosius of Belgium, 11.28. She came through qualifying as well, running 11.47. European under-23 silver medalist last year. I think she enjoyed that intro as well. A fulsome introduction for all of the athletes to the crowd. So the task is simple for Dina, just get through this without any issues, without any problems, finish in the top 2, move on to tonight's final. Daryl Nita already set a mark, 10.95. Will she look to emulate that, or will she take it easy?
Set.
False start, very obvious from Lecomte. Well, it's been an interesting evening, hasn't it? We had some false starts. You probably wouldn't have been with us today, and the heats actually in the 400 meters earlier on today, and we had 1 or 2 scenarios with Abella in the decathlon, which were dealt with quite leniently. And I think earlier on this evening in the men's semi-finals with Ali, but that one was pretty obvious, Colin. I don't think there'll be any argument.
Yeah, you didn't need my eyes on this particular occasion, Steve. That was so clear. But yeah, today of all days, it's been very strange for false starts. A lot of them happening in different disciplines. So let's hope that everybody can just calm down, take a deep breath and settle.
Chris Cohen, just the referee, just checking with these officials. I'm pretty sure you'll see him come to the mic and announce to the crowd. It's all about communication these days, transparency.
False start, lane 7.
Yeah, she knew. It's when you're looking down the straight and you see your face on the big screen at the far end. She knew anyway, Colin. That wasn't one of those which was hard to detect.
Yeah, it wasn't close at all, was it? Look. And it wasn't even that long a hold either in the set position, so she was very fidgety. But you can see and understand why, Steve, because it's really close behind after Dina, really.
Yeah, lining up next to the defending champion, a big star, of course, of world sprinting, never mind European sprinting. So one less for Dina to worry about, if she was indeed worried. So Takash over on the far side for Hungary, Van der Weyken from Luxembourg, Perez of Spain could be one to watch, HASIL of Germany, Cooney of Switzerland, Asher Smith in lane 6, and Rossius in lane 8. Perez got a flying start, as did Van der Weyken alongside her, but Dina Asher-Smith up and into a running now, and running nicely and running smoothly and moving away from the field. It's Dina Asher-Smith from Perez, 11.15. Not as quick as Daryl Nita. A little smile breaks across her face. She did look at the clock, and sometimes that's an indication that you think you've run quick. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, taking a deep breath there. I mean, Dina, of course, as you know, is a true champion. There's no two ways about that whatsoever. But it wasn't a vintage run by Dina, let's put it that way. But you know what? It wasn't needed in this semi-final. You know, she's the quality runner in this field. She gets out the